Welcome to Anchor Cargo's educational series on the products and regulations that surround our industry. We understand cargo control can be a lot to wrap your head around, but don't worry, we're here to help. We'll break things down into relatable categories, and then with each episode dive deeper and deeper into that category. We'll cover things like product use, regulations, and some myths that happen to surround our industry. Each episode will just be a couple minutes long, and will feature things like special guests, product demos, and some tips to make the most out of your Anchor products. If this is something that interests you, we'd love it if you click subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell to be alerted when we drop a new episode. Please enjoy.
In this episode of Tie Down 101, Basic Use of a Cable Puller, we'll cover how to set one up, as well as how to tension it and release the unit. My name is Matt, and I'll be your host for this episode. If you've missed any of our other episodes, feel free to click the link and go right to that playlist. Cable pullers, also known as come-alongs in many regions, are used to stretch, tighten, and reposition objects that are too difficult or heavy to do by hand. A primary application is the stretching of fencing materials such as barbed wire or chain link fence. But they're also commonly used to secure and lower tree limbs, as well as move landscaping or other large construction materials. While the shape and size may vary between models, all cable pullers have 6 basic components: the attachment hardware, in this case cast hooks with safety latches, the main frame, the mandrel, the ratchet mechanism consisting of gears and a pawl, connected to a drive lever, and finally the actual cable, or could also be a rope or webbing, depending on the application. The ratcheting mechanism is what supplies the power to the unit. The mandrel is driven by attached gear plates that interact with a toggle connected to the drive lever. On the back side of the mandrel is the catch plate that holds tension. Both the toggle and the catch plate swing open to let the unit freewheel to let out the cable or webbing. On higher capacity units, a pulley block is used to gain mechanical advantage with the same basic hardware. The pulling force is effectively doubled, however the take-up or usable pulling length is halved for each block that is used. Most cable pullers come pre-threaded with the appropriately sized cable. To let it out, open up the toggle on the drive lever as well as the rear tension plate. This process will vary by brand and model, but for the version shown, Anchor Cargo's 1-ton professional model, the toggle on the drive handle can be held open with the included switch. Then, simply hold the tension plate open while pulling the cable out. There are many ways to accomplish this. We encourage you to work with your product and figure out what works best for you. Now that you have enough usable cable pulled out of the unit, it's time to hook it up and make your pull. To secure the puller, find a sturdy anchor point. A large tree or vehicle typically works best. When securing to a tree, we recommend wrapping a shorter recovery strap around the tree first, and then securing the hooks to the eyes of the recovery strap. This will prevent the cable from digging into the trunk and damaging the tree. When securing to objects that can easily be scratched or marred, consider using a unit that has web or rope instead of the traditional steel cable. Similarly, when securing to a vehicle, be sure to use a secure attachment point. Any point that you would use for towing or recovery would be the best choice. Never use a ball hitch as an anchor point, as it could quickly become a projectile should there be a failure at the hitch. At the pull point, place the hook in a location that can handle the load. Once everything is securely hooked up, you can begin to cycle the drive lever back and forth, drawing the cable in and around the mandrel. When the object being pulled has reached its final location and is securely in place, release the tension from the unit with the same method used earlier to let the cable out. Open the toggle and release the rear tension plate. If you run out of take-up before your object is in its final place, simply reset the anchor point further away and go through the tensioning process again. Repeat until your move is complete. As always, use proper personal protective equipment when using cable pullers. Eye and hand protection are recommended. Most cable pullers are not rated for overhead lifting, and force multiplying devices such as cheater bars should never be used on cable pullers. If pulling on a lever, with your hand alone does not supply enough force to move the object, the cable puller is undersized for the job at hand.